Hey guys, Mike with Voodoo Vintage. I've gotten some inquiries about how I take my photographs of all my clothing and stuff. I'm just going to give you guys a brief introduction on how I do all this. Pretty simple, guys. I mean, what you see back here is a green screen. You can purchase this type of material online, or a lot of stores have them. This was actually designed for a photographic studio that I basically bought out part of it, and I didn't want to spend 5 or 6 hours on this big roll of the green screen. So what I did is I bought chunks of it and customized this one here. But all you really need to do is, get a mannequin. It could be something simple as this. It could be the ones on hangers or hooks. If you don't have the mannequin and you have a backdrop, that's okay too. Put a little screw in the middle there, and then you can hang a hanger from there. You can take photographs from there. But I do it different ways. I want to show a lot of detail on my photographs, so I've got 5 or 6 different photos of each shirt or each hat or jacket, whatever it may be. But here, I'll just give you a quick little example. Take your mannequin, slap the t-shirt on. I don't know if you guys can see this here. Lower the camera. There we go. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, so we got the camera there. So, you can lay the shirt out like this. What I do is, to get that nice tight fit, I use bobby pins. So I just take bobby pins and I go around here, tuck the shirt in. Some of the higher end mannequins have like a sticky back to it, so you could just basically, fold the shirt back into the back end and you'll get a nice tight fit for it. So once you get the bobby pins set up, the way I do it is I just do one big shot from the top to the bottom, and then I have a secondary shot, which is the main focus on the front of the shirt. And if there's anything on the back of the shirt, I'll photograph that. I also photograph the tags on the shirt. That's very important. Also, any dates or any markings too, you want to photograph that too. So do close-ups. You want to have good lighting. Use a high-quality camera to get these photos out there. And then once I'm done with this, I move on to the next item, whether it's a hat, a jacket. But once the stage is done and I have a bunch of pictures taken, then I'll go in and crop them. Yeah, that takes a little extra time, but for me, I want everything perfect. So that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. I mean, you can go with a cheap mannequin like this. You can find them online for 10, 15 bucks. You can get some full size mannequins too. I've got one here at the shop. I got that one from actually Craigslist, and that one was just, there was actually a thrift store going out of business. So I went out and bought a bunch of mannequins. And they had a bunch of heads, a bunch of racking that I bought. But you can find these things really cheap. Don't go out and spend $300–400 on a mannequin unless you're going to do large volumes of stuff. But I've had this one here, and I also have a female one that I use for a lot of my female shirts. So that one there is pretty much just for female stuff. So it's got the umbas. So the women, when they see the shirt, they can see how it fits and looks. But yeah, it's pretty much basic. Just snap and shoot the photos. My keys are really close-ups. Take good close-ups. If you can avoid using the flash, do that. But if you need to use the flash, make sure that the shirt actually looks like how it is, so when the buyer gets it, they're not gonna question the fact that, oh, this looks different color than what the picture was. Also too, when you're taking photographs of this stuff, we have a log. So for example, when we do like a 100 shirt picture a day, or a big run of shirts, and we mark down the name of the shirt, and then we do the measurements too. So when it comes for us to list the items, it's all the information is right there for us. But what you want to do is you want to measure from pit to pit, and then from top to bottom. That's on a t-shirt. If it's a long sleeve t-shirt, you're going to want to do like the collar. I always start from like right here, then down to like to where your wrist is there. You want to do that, and then basically give those measurements as well. Same with like jackets and stuff. Just try to provide as much information as possible. And once you have all that set up there, you're ready to put the stuff online, and it's pretty much that easy. Some people like to have their main photo shot, the long shot of the mannequin. I found it just, my personal opinion, looks crisper and cleaner. Just a flat shot of the front, nicely cropped. The graphics stick out. There's a lot of people out there that, they just take the shirts, throw it on the floor, or, they're shooting them in a dark room, you can barely see them. But if you look at those type of people that are selling them, you start looking at their feedback. People are complaining, this is that. I rarely get complaints. The only complaint I ever get is, the fact that, oh, your shirt doesn't fit. And you're running that problem there, and that's why you have the measurements, to basically have the measurements out there to say, hey, this is what it is. So grab your favorite t-shirt, measure it, and then once you have your measurements, you'll know how to shop for vintage t-shirts. So if you guys have any other questions in terms of how I photograph things, feel free to leave me a comment. Let's talk about this. But yeah, just a quick little video on how I photograph my t-shirts. I do it the same way with other items. I've got this screen here where I shoot everything on here for the items, but if I've got smaller items, I have a little section here, and I'll just take you guys over here. It's this section here. It's I built this table where it's designed for I got a couple different workstations here, but it's the same material here you see, and we just lay out the toys there and we photograph it up against this block here, and you can kind of zoom in and see. But here you just I get off really good light right here, so the it's great for me just to line up let's say an action figure, Darth Maul over there, and then snap, 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 boom, you're done. So for me, the green background stands out for me, at least it does. You can actually change the background too, out of Photoshop. Just click, erase, it'll erase the whole green screen. It'll come out perfect. Your image will be crisp and clean. So you can have a white background, a brick wall background, whatever kind of background you desire. But yeah, this is just kind of a quick video on how I do a lot of my photograph stuff. So if you guys like this stuff, hit the like button, hit comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for my next video.